This is Dave Kendall with Election One-on-One, a series of exclusive interviews with representatives of the four leading parties contesting Thailand's general election on March 24th. Today I'm speaking with Thanathorn Juangroongruangkit, leader of Anakot Mai, the Future Forward Party, and I'll ask him about their plans to rewrite the constitution, sideline the military, redistribute wealth, and offer a new trial to Thaksin Chinawat. Kun Thanathorn, why should people vote for Future Forward?
Well, I think the upcoming election is very important for the future of our country. We've been living under the military regime for the last 5 years, and now is the chance for the people to voice their demands. Future Forward Party stands against the military dictatorship. We believe that even if we cast our vote in this election, we cannot end the cycle of military coup d'etat every 8 years. Future Forward Party has a policy to make coup d'etat a history. We want to have a serious military reform. We want to establish a notion that civilian government is above the army. I think that differentiates ourselves from other political party. Now, no political party out there seriously want to reform the army.
But how will you do that?
Oh, there is a few steps we planning to do. First of all, we want to amend the military bill, the current military bill. We want to reduce the size of the army. Thailand at the moment, we have about 1,400 generals, more than almost any countries in the world. We want to reduce the number of the generals. We want to reduce the size of the army. We are talking about almost 400,000 officers in the army. We want to cut that by half. We want to also make the military spending, military investment transparent and under the control of civilian government. Also, we want to end the conscription, compulsory conscription, and make it a voluntary. So those are the things that we want to do to make the reform of the army. And we believe that with these reforms, in the future, the army will have less capabilities to strike, to conduct a coup d'etat in the future.
But why do you think they would let you do that? Since there have been so many coups, were you to gain power in the election, wouldn't they just launch another one? Wouldn't they find some way of stopping you?
Well, that's also in our plan. We believe that there is always another possibility for another coup d'etat. So we also plan to accept the jurisdiction of the ICC, the International Criminal Court. In the past, when they conducted a coup d'etat, people demonstrated, people protested against them, and there's the military crackdowns on the demonstrators. None of those who ordered the killings of the people have been put to the justice system.
You talk about keeping the military out of politics, but isn't it true that in the past many Thai politicians have acted more like warlords than in the interest of the people? How will you prevent that happening again?
That's why you need a new force. Our MP candidates, 350 of them are new faces. None of them in the current patronage system. None of them used to be an MP before. None of them used to be a minister before. All of them are new faces. We believe only by using a new force we can deliver change in this country.
Okay.
So,
Let's
I mean, generally speaking, if the people in this country want to see change, we have to do it ourselves. We cannot rely on the existing political parties, the existing politicians. You need a new force that is outside of this circle.
let's talk about some of your policies. They're quite ambitious. You're talking about extending the welfare system so that there will be pensions, everybody will have health care. How will you pay for all that?
We do propose in our policy platform to increase the welfare system of this country, the young, the sick, and the poor. Basically, we want to make the spending more efficient. For example, if you reform the military, as per our proposal, we are talking about 60 billion Thai baht of the taxpayer money that can be saved by reforming the military. Those 60 billion Thai baht that we can save, we can spend more on education, more on the young people, the well-being of the young people. That's, for example, we are planning to abolish the tax schemes that give the rich significantly lower effective rate of personal income tax and corporate income tax. So we want to abolish those tax privilege schemes. By reducing the tax privilege schemes for the rich, we are talking about another 200 billion Thai baht of more tax collection from them.
You're also talking about raising land and inheritance taxes. And in
Yeah.
that case, you're going to be running up against some of the most powerful people in Thailand. Won't they fight back?
We don't know, but at least I believe that it's worth trying. For example, if you own a house that's worth 50 million Thai baht, you don't have to pay tax on that. Only if you own a house worth 50 million and one Thai baht, you supposed to pay 0.03% of that. So that is about the 15,000 Thai baht a year for a house worth 50 million Thai baht. And 50 million people, the number of the people who owns a house worth 50 million Thai baht in Thailand, I don't know, maybe 10,000 people or even less than that. So that means the current tax on land and houses doesn't in effect functioning.
Nonetheless, you're definitely asking the rich and powerful to take a hit. Now, in the context of the red-yellow political divide that has troubled Thailand over the years, how will you heal that divide? How will you reunite the country when a lot of your policies are quite aggressively against one side?
Let me give you the background of the context. You see, the gap between the rich and the poor in this country is basically the biggest in the world. Credit Suisse launched a paper last year investigating the gap between the rich and the poor. 3 years ago, Thailand used to be number 3 in the world after Russia and India. And now last year, 2018, we were number 1. So that means the inequality in this country is such a big problem that if we are not tackling this problem, I believe it will be very hard to heal the past wounds. You are right to say that the polarization between the two camps has been ongoing for 12 years already, and the wound is deep. What our party is proposing is that we believe the line was drawn falsely. It is not between one camp of the people and another camp of the people. We are making a vertical line that separating the people apart. We are proposing to draw a new line, a vertical line, a horizontal line. We believe people, regardless of the color of the church you wore over the past 12 years of the conflict, should come together as one and fight against the military regime. So this is the new line, the horizontal line that divide the people as a whole against the corrupted regime of the NCPO. So that's what we are proposing to the society.
Okay, talking about this red-yellow divide, what is your attitude towards Thaksin and Yingluck? Would you consider rehabilitating them, letting them get back in the country?
Mm-hmm. Here's the point. We believe that if you want to reconcile the past, the conflict, the people together, if you want to do that, there is only one way. You have to apply the concept of transitional justice. Regardless of the names of the leaders, all the people involved in the conflict has to be held accountable for what they did. Leaders of the red church, leader of the yellow church, both of them have done things that they haven't been taken into account. For example, in the case of Kun Thaksin, it was clear that the criminal charges against Kun Thaksin was done under the military government. So what we are proposing is to return justice to him, get him back, bring him to a justice system, and he has to bear whatever the consequence of that. I think that is the only way out. Leaders of both camps have to be held accountable for what they did in the past.
So what would you do? Seek to drop some of the charges against him and then welcome him back on lesser charges?
No, reopen the cases.
Okay.
Reopen the cases against him. And the judge has to be neutral. Unlike the past where we see that the justice system has been used against Kun Thaksin, he has the right to free and fair trial, I believe. But if the result, the judgment of the free and fair trial is against him, he has to accept it.
What's your attitude towards Pheu Thai in a scenario where there's a coalition government? Would you work with them?
We have set our direction clear. We would like to first end the continuation of NCPO power, NCPO regime after the election. Second, we want to amend the 2017 constitution. So these two principles has to be there. We would not compromise on this. Regardless of the names of the party, we can work with all the parties that accept these two principles. These two principles will not be compromised. So, if be it Pheu Thai, be it the Democrat, or be it other parties, if they accept our proposal, we are willing to work with them.
Do you think the Democrat Party would accept that?
I cannot speak for them.
But in your estimation, do you really think it's likely that they would agree to that?
I think it will be difficult.
Just moving on, personally, you're facing possible criminal charges uploading false information to the internet over a speech that you gave that was streamed live on Facebook last June. How worried are you?
No, not at all, not at all. Let me talk about this a little bit. It was the Computer Crime Act, Article 14 of the Computer Crime Act. It stipulates that if you upload false information, first of all, and second of all, false information cause public panic. So you can be charged, you can be jailed for that. First of all, it's not false information, it's the public information that was circulated by many media organizations in the country. And second, it caused no one panic. There's no public panic because of what I spoke. So basically, it is clear that this charge is politically motivated. If you ask if the leadership of our party concerned about this, we said no. We still work hard every day as we planned. There is nothing that would stop us from doing so. We believe that this charge has no effect. There will be no effect.
So you believe that
charge.
So you believe that you will be cleared of the charge, or it won't actually go through. You told a BBC interviewer that you expected to go to jail.
Well,
do you think that's no longer possible? Do you have that much faith in the courts now?
Well, there's nothing certain about that. There's nothing certain about that. Well, I believe that the NCPO now seeing us as a threat to their continuation of power, and they would do anything to stop us. If you look at social media in Thailand today, you will see that we are being attacked by hatred speech, by false news, and many of that aimed at our party and at me, at myself. I believe that it's clear they're terrified. They are terrified. They are afraid of the anger of the people. How far the ruling of the court will go in this particular case, I cannot say. I dare not say. But I believe our innocence will prevail.
And finally, just about you personally, your background. You come from a wealthy family. You're a successful businessman. But you're also kind of a left-wing political activist. You've worked with the Assembly of the Poor. I believe when you were in university in England, you were associated with the Socialist Workers' Party. Then you came back to run your father's business after having worked for the UN. It's a fascinating mix. Who is the real Thanathorn?
Well, when I was young, I had no intention of running business at all. I hate big corporations. But when my father passed away, my mother asked me to come back and run the family business, and I could not resist her request. As a mother and a son, it's difficult for me to refuse. So I decided to come back, and during my business years, I still have the concerns on the well-being of the society. So I, from time to time, did join several campaigns for the poor, for the people with disadvantages in their lives. From time to time, but since I was running the business, I couldn't do anything full time on that. But the spirit of working for the better lives of the majority of the people still there, still inside me. Last year, when I see that this country is hopeless. There's no way out of this political conflict. There's no political parties out there that could represent our dreams. I decided that I have to come do this myself. So I think that's who I am.
คุณ Thanathorn, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you ขอบคุณครับคุณเดฟครับ Thank you